And welcome back to the Utopia Coliseum here for week 2 of Minor League Esports. It has been an eventful day so far with a great series in the Champion League, but now we move up the standings to the Master League. Hello, I am your host Fallen, and welcome back to Minor League Esports 2. Currently over on the main channel we do have another series going as of right now. I'm not really sure who that is, but in the meantime we're back with the same duo, and joining me as my co-caster is Mr. Tony Ernie. Tony Ernie, how did you find that last series?
That last series, I mean, it really went down to the wire as at the start of the series, both teams, the Outlaws and the Rhinos, went back and forth, and you really couldn't separate them. But in Game 4, that is when the Outlaws took the upper hand and clinched the series.
And now looking ahead to this series, we have a big Master League game going on here. We have the Flames versus the Shadow, and two good lineups that you know a little bit about. Tell us a bit about the Flames.
So for the Flames, we have T-Man and Flamethrower. I think Flamethrower was playing his second game of the season, as last week they got 0-5'd by the Pandas. And that's not a great way to start your season, especially for the Flames. So I think in this game here against the Shadow, you're really looking to bounce back and get some momentum rolling for the early part of this season.
And meanwhile, on the Shadow side of things, you do have Morg and Mr. Fruity, and this is a very strong lineup. We saw Morg take a 4-1 victory last week to really start his season off right. Meanwhile, Fruity was on the back end of a 1-4 loss at the hands of the Rhinos, and it feels like this series is sort of shaping up to be a true test of which of these teams is divisionally the strongest. As we get ready for game number 1, I want your predictions quickly. Who do you think takes it?
For me, I like the way the Shadow are looking just stat-wise, so I'm going to have to give the Shadow here with a 4-1 victory.
Alright, I am personally in the corner of casters being split on their opinions. That way we don't get called out for bias. So in this case, I'm going to go with the Flames. I say they're going to take it, as a great chance comes out from Mr. Fruity to start the game off, and the Shadow already trying to set up an offensive hold here. T-Man will clear it down the midfield, look to get a second touch. He'll get the dunk, and that's through on there. A great start to the game for the Flames, and a great start for T-Man. They lead 1-0.
And this challenge by Mr. Fruity felt really rushed, and just he didn't get a whole lot on it, and it just squeaked on through. And T-Man gonna give the Flames the early lead here.
Yeah, and a great start that is. Any nerves or any worries that the two teams or the two players would have had have just been dissuaded, and there's another reason to dissuade them. T-Man gets his second in as many shots and in as many attempts on there. He doubles the Flames lead, and what a goal it was.
And Mr. Fruity just could not get there in time, hit the post as he tried to make the desperate save attempt.
Yeah, it's always a little rough when you flip away from the ball when you're intending to, go for the ball, as Flamethrower now looks to try and control it in the Shadow's half, but Morg will have none of it. Will send it deep back into the Flames half, attempts to take it past Morg, but will not find the touch for the moment, as T-Man now takes it up onto the backboard. Fruity is there waiting and will clear it away, but Flamethrower will cut out that pass, and the Shadow again find themselves on the back foot here during this game number 1, but now maybe looking for a passing play of their own. Pass across the midfield to Morg will not lead to anything, but a demo might open up the defense slightly. However, a great pinch from the two Flames players will immediately dissuade any idea of that.
As right now the Flames, they seem to be playing very fluid and just kind of going with the motions, and for the Shadow they haven't been able to really set up anything, as it's just been clear after clear for them.
Yeah, now the Flames are going to take this ball into their own half and just sort of start an offensive play here. T-Man will tee it up into the midfield. Unchallenged, gets the flip reset, looks for what I believe was a breezy flick there. Off of that flip reset, will not find it, and now Morg, teeing it up in front of the net, will instead get demoed for his troubles. The Shadow now with an attempt on goal. Mr. Fruity's beat him, and I think he's put it in. No, he hasn't. But Morg
there
will.
It is.
There
okay.
we go.
Okay.
And
take a breath.
The Shadow will get away with that one. They should have scored. They didn't. And now I'm going to take a breath.
Take a breath. We're okay. The Shadow scored here. That could have been disaster for the Shadow if that one somehow did not get put in the back of the net.
Especially considering Mr. Fruity was the one who eventually put it into the post and kept it out. If he'd have hit the ball any more towards the net, it was in. However, he hit it away from the net for some reason, and they found themselves having to waste precious seconds throwing a second man at the ball to make sure it went in. But now, that must be the confidence builder, and you can already see it. Oh, the team play there from the Shadow. They equalise with half the game gone.
Morg just gonna get a bump onto T-Man. Just push him out of the way. Just a soft nudge, and it was all they really needed. And the Shadow scored 2 unanswered to tie this series.
Yeah, and a very good recovery from them, especially considering it felt like the Flames had a lot of the control for the early parts of this game. Immediately, that tide of power has swapped as Morg gets another good shot on target. Flamethrower will be equal to this one, however, and the Shadow forced to retreat into their own back half, but there is the chemistry, and you can already see it. Fruity leaving the ball for Morg, but now Flamethrower. We're going to try and go alone here. He has 0 boost, can't beat Mr. Fruity. T-Man will get a 50 with him, and it'll go across field. A great little passing play here for the Flames, but they can't find the shot on target, and it will go wasted, but T-Man will not let this play die, sending it into the Shadow's corner again. But for the moment, the Shadow holds strong on defense.
Yeah, for the Shadow, after a early slip up here in game 1, they seem to recollect themselves, tie this game up, and they're starting to flex their muscles a little.
Yeah, Fruity there with a good clear with 0 boost. Somehow managed to get it as a shot on target. A great clear from Flamethrower. We'll get another one on target. But his demo onto Morg will throw him out of position slightly, and Fruity will be able to clean it away for the moment. Now Morg looks to send it into the Flames half. Will do so. But a great bicycle kick there from Flamethrower with his axles almost broken in half in the process. Will keep this ball in the Shadow's half, and with the defender bumped out of net, T-Man may have just saved his own shot.
As it looked like T-Man's dribble was going to be just wide. Morg got just bumped off the wall, wasn't able to follow up. And the pace of play starting to quicken as with less than a minute to go. Both teams desperately looking for their 3rd goal to win game 1.
Yeah, I was just about to mention how quick the pace had gotten. The 50s are coming out so quick and so thick and fast as another demo comes out from T-Man. The Shadow down to 1 man in net, and that is Mr. Fruity. But off of the respawn now, Morg will look to capitalise, sending it onto the Flames backboard. Will take the back boost and tee it up, but there is no one there for the moment. I didn't see him, but Fruity did actually end up getting there, but didn't get the touch he wanted. And the Flames back on offense now. Flamethrower will put it in front of the net.
What a save!
Will be demoed, and a save from Morg. Will somehow, some way, keep this one at 2-2, and it feels like this one's about to go to overtime. Or is it? Morg with the shot on target, T-Man with the save. It's teed
Oh
off.
my
Can't
God.
find the net. And it's gone to overtime here in game number 1, and what a start to this series it has been.
The Flames looked like they were going to end it before we went to OT, but Morg not able to end it here.
How much more? How much more pressure do either of these teams need to apply before they put one in the back of the net? I feel like this could go on forever, but I feel like now I may have jinxed it as Flamethrower pings it forward. Mr. Fruity gets 50'd, it's in front of the net, but it'll fall to the corner as Morg looks to try and take this one away. T-Man off the backboard, looks for the read, gets it over the last defender, but Flamethrower is not there to capitalise. Now, another pass, another opportunity, but Fruity with a solid clear, and Flamethrower forced to back all the way off into his own half, but a good little turn there, control of the ball, it's in front of the net, T-Man's got it on target, and will get the double tap, dunk it in, his hat-trick, the 3rd for the Flames, and the game goes to them.
Great follow-up here by T-Man, as I don't think that initial bar down was going to go in. He got just enough on it, and the Flames, who looked like they were going to end it right before we went to overtime, end it now. And
that was a game when they needed.
That was a definite game win they needed, as the Flames were outshot 12-5. And for the Shadow, they just couldn't convert.
And we're going to be having a look back at one of the highlights of this game was, I believe, the save by Morg, where the save and then the shot by Morg to take it out. How that didn't go in originally is beyond me, but Morg there to clear it up and eventually didn't lead to a Shadow game win, but really was the spark that brought them back into this one.
Mm-hmm. And for the Shadow, I mean, they put 12 shots on net. That's something that you can't be disappointed about, as you're obviously doing something right on offense, but now it's just a matter of putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and if they aren't able to do that on a more regular basis, I feel like this series could start to get away from them. The Flames looking clinical on offense. 3 for 5 shooting is always good, especially when you're getting over that 50% shooting percentage. And in the case of T-Man's accuracy, it feels like whenever he wants to score, he just can. And that is a terrifying player to come up against, especially in the Master League, where we have GCs playing here. These are 1500s through to peaking at 1699 MMR. This is very solid low-tier GCs who are at the peak of their performance as of right now, and this is just going to be such an exciting series that I have no idea which way it's going to go. Flamethrower looking to clear this one away here to open up game number 2. The shot will not come out from T-Man. He'll put it high and wide. Fruity looking for the turn will get demoed, and T-Man will look to control this one in his own half with a little bit of an aerial play here. Goes for the flip reset, cannot get there, and Fruity with a great challenge will take it away. Right now, a little bit of back and forth from the two teams as they try to find their rhythm here in game number 2 of this 5-match series.
It's like
It's
like you said, both teams going back and forth, again, testing the waters, as it's still very early on in this 5-game set, so teams still trying to figuring out what they can get away with the other team's rotation and pressure.
Great chance there from Morg! Oh, he took advantage of all of the room given to him by the Flames. A very nice bounce through him, and he took it absolutely superbly. Nothing Flamethrower could have done to get up in time for that. A great goal from one of the strongest proponents of the Shadow's offensive capabilities this season. I mean, this is a guy who is sat currently at 8th highest overall MVPR for any player in the Master League. He is on fire, and he almost just got another one there.
Morg's starting to get into a rhythm, starting to build that confidence. Fakes out one, fakes out two, and it's gonna go in. Morg's just had the ball on a string and just kind of pulled that one through at the end.
That right there. This entire series is just full of amazing plays, but that one may have just topped the list. If you do think that that was one of the best plays you've seen in a long time, please go ahead and clip it for us in Twitch chat and send it over to our Discord or to our Twitter with the hashtag Play of the Week, as the Flames look to get themselves back into this one. A great save comes out from Mr. Fruity, and Flamethrower, not too happy, will demo Morg in the midfield as they rotate back.
It really feels like as each shot, each goal goes on net, the bar's just raised every time. And right now the Shadow are looking strong, but the Flames are still there. 2 goals in 3 minutes is definitely doable, but the Flames just haven't had that offense.
We saw the Shadow come back from a 2-goal deficit in, I believe it was game number 1. I'm not really sure if they were 2 goals down, but now maybe a 3-goal deficit as Fruity shot ricochets off the crossbar and out. Unfortunate there, the power was there, the placement was not, and now the Flames with the placement. Flamethrower's shot was on target and forced a save out of Fruity. Now, however, the Shadow with a quick counter-attacking play. That one's on target, but there wasn't enough power behind it. Flamethrower will get his 3rd save of the game, and the Shadow will find themselves still 2 goals to the good with half the game gone.
Could be an opportunity here. No, Flamethrower decides to delay his challenge. I think for the Flames, you haven't gotten a lot of opportunities just going through the motions. I think you really have to start forcing the issue here as Morgs is beginning to heat up, and that's one of the last things you want to see. Is he is such a dominant player once he gets dialed in.
Almost another goal for him there, almost the hat trick, and look at that little bit of play there from Morgan Fruity, but one player out of defense, and T-Man will take the 50 clean. A goal for the good for the Flames. They are one away from an equalizer with 1:51 remaining.
And sometimes you got to get a little bit aggressive here. Desperate times, desperate measures. T-Man gonna get rewarded with the goal, and now the Flames are down by 1.
And it was a very good goal there from T-Man, just showing his initiative in realizing that he had the ability to go for that. He'd already taken one player out of the game, and Flamethrower almost gets another one. Oh my lord. Thumped off the crossbar again. The Flames' greatest enemy right now is not the Shadow, but their bar instead. Now another shot comes out. That one's on target. It was under the bar, but Fruity will get his third save to keep it out. Morg will get another one to keep out. T-Man shot, and the Shadow will hold momentarily here, but it feels like the onslaught is continuing to mount. The pressure is continuing to mount, and it is only a matter of time before the Shadow crack.
Yep, and for the Flames, I'd like to see them get more movement on the ball in the offensive end, whether it be horizontal or vertical. Make the Shadow think about what they're doing. Make them get out of position with the movement of the ball, because right now their positioning is spot on.
Love that little fake out play there from Morg, baiting in a challenge from T-Man. When he realized it wasn't coming, he just flicked it high for his teammate. Hasn't necessarily worked out. Flamethrower did not get the flip off of that ball, unfortunately. Would not be able to create a play without it. And now the Flames, a little bit of a mistouch there from T-Man, but a great recovery from Flamethrower will keep it out. Both Shadow players sort of bit on that play, but they're not going to be out of rotation on defense. Once again, they hold strong. For the moment, the crossbar saves them again, though, as Flamethrower's shot unsuccessful at finding the back of the net. And once again, now T-Man looking for a backwards play. It's not worked out. A great 50 from Morg. And like that, the Shadow will seal game number 2 here and get themselves back into this series.
T-Man was backwards on that challenge and kind of just matrixed the ball, flipped out of the way. I don't think he got anything on that challenge, and Morg just kind of put that one in.
It's been a great game here from the Shadow defensively. They've looked stalwart the entire time, and whilst the post has been basically a third man for them for the most part, their victory here just shows the class that they have. They were able to put their shots away this time, and they will be rewarded with a victory. 3-1. They will take game number 2 and take this series to a 1-1 draw.
Not as many shots this time for the Shadow, but the Flames increase their shot production. Not able to produce as much as the Shadow, as Morg's getting all 3 goals for the Shadow and is really starting to come into his own.
Yeah, and really, I think it comes down to just the defensive efforts of Morgan Fruity. They were doing so much to keep every single shot out of the net from T-Man and from Flamethrower, and they did such a great job at doing that. You know, 9 shots, but 6 saves from the Shadow. It's kind of crazy to think that they almost had more saves than they did shots, and yet they won in such a convincing fashion. With two goal deficit at the end. What do the Flames need to do now to get themselves back into a commanding position in this series, do you feel? And what is it that specifically they need to change about their playstyle, if anything, to create more opportunities going forward?
So I think for the Flames, I think they just need to focus a little bit more on offense, because a lot of the time the Shadow, they're double committing on balls and they're just getting completely put out of position. So for the Flames, I think they just need to keep that first man forward a little bit longer, because maybe they can get a bounce to go their way as the Shadow continue to double commit.
Well, we're about to see as we get ready to go into game number 3, and One thing I've just noticed is the beauty of Flamethrower's car. He has a phoenix on top of his head, and he's got a flames decal and flaming wheels. That is right there, dedication to your brand. As Flamethrower will get the demo onto Fruity. The net was open momentarily, but he couldn't get around the ball to keep it out. And if you want to deck yourself out in wonderful colors just like Flamethrower has, well, the MLE merch store is available now. Go ahead and go and grab yourself a nice fleece, a nice hoodie, maybe a shirt. There's even stuff on there. There's a Hyperion hoodie, Hyperion. Not sure how to pronounce it. You can put your gamer tag on the back, and I really want to get my hands on that. We have shipping to the US, UK, and Canada, all up on the store. I'm not sure if the UK is working one yet. I need to figure that out because I need to buy myself one after this game. But in the meantime, we have some cracking gameplay to see in the process, and it will come down to T-Man as he looks to flick over Mr. Fruity.
Yeah, right now the Flames looking a little more comfortable on offense, but again, the Shadow, they seem to be comfortable everywhere. Again, Morgs getting one or two extra touches, putting the Flames out of position and putting them in the awkward situation. Is Fruity just a little too early on that one.
And off there in the backfield, off of the ball play there from T-Man, taking out Morg, stopping him from really getting involved in that play as a rebound attempt was coming for the Shadow. Mr. Fruity now looking for a bump play, will not find it. Flamethrower with a great save off of his own ceiling of his net will keep that ball out of the net and keep the scoreline 0-0. Now, the Shadow are on the defense. T-Man looking to take this one. He has 0 boost, takes it up the wall, but Morg is really good on the wall right now and is equal to it. And the Shadow's defense is going to hold momentarily. With 3 minutes to go, the scoreline is still 0-0.
Yeah, and I think for the Flames, we came into this series and we talked about how the Flames, they came off of a devastating 5-0 loss. And so for the Flames, they're looking like they're improving as Flamethrower gonna toss a changeup and just lob it over Fruity.
I do love that though. He recognizes Morg is coming for the challenge. He recognizes Fruity's in a poor position on the goal line and thinks, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now. And he lobs it over the top of the defender, and there is very little that they could have done to keep that shot out as T-Man now looks to try and drive this one forward. It's in front of the box, but Fruity is there. And now the Shadow immediately look to try and get their lead back. It's in front of the net. There is no defender, but Fruity will not find the touch to put it over the line, and Morg will overcommit slightly on offense. The Flames are back on offense here, and it looks like they're about to go two goals to the good.
Now the Shadow beginning to scramble a little as looks like they used up all of their boost on that last offensive drive. Fruity, awkward situation, dunk, not gonna go in the most perfect spot as the Flames continue to edge closer and closer to getting another.
Yeah, and it feels like that offensive pressure now has mounted at its peak. The boost steals coming out from T-Man and Flamethrower. They are controlling and muting this entire defense of the Shadow. They have nothing going on right now. They are being neutered, and they are not able to go up on those back walls and make those booming clears like they normally are. But finally, Morg will be able to get that ball up into the air. He'll tee it down, looks for the pinch, but will not find it. Flamethrower will clear it away for the moment. A little bit of a mistouch there from Fruity will make him bump into his teammate, and the attacking play that was building there for the Shadow immediately undone. Now, Flamethrower looks to bring this one forward, but Mr. Fruity will get the boost, the ball over the top of him, and sends it towards midfield. Morg waiting there on the wing will take a shot, and it's just off target. Now the crossbar in favor of the Flames, keeping them at bay, and the Shadow have got to be thinking, we've got a minute to go, how do we get a goal at this point? It feels like we've not had anything going offensively at all.
I think for the Shadow, they really got to start getting those demos back into the rotations, as it seems like they just need a little more space to put a shot on net, fine-tune it on their placement, and with 30 seconds to go, we're going to have to see what they can do.
Big boomer from Morg off of the top 90 there. And a little bit of a mini pinch from the Flames will send the ball into the Shadows half. Both Shadow players go up, but Morg will get the touch. He gets the double tap. It's off the upright and out. But Mr. Fruity will clean it up. It's 1-1, and this series is absolutely heating up.
A great shot there by Morg. That would have been insane if he put that one in. Mr. Fruity there to clean up with 17 seconds to go. And that's what the Shadow need. They just need that little bit of spark, little bit of just extra something to get them back into this game. And the Flames looking to close this one out at the buzzer, but Morg says no.
And we are going to go to our golden goal overtime here in game number 3. The winner will take the lead in the series. Currently, we are sat at 1 apiece. Morg will look to try and create the first attack. He gets it on top of his nose and will get bumped to heaven by Flamethrower. He will not be partaking for the moment, as Mr. Fruity left all on his own in the back of the T-Man's booming clear off the backboard. And now, the Flames starting to mount some offensive pressure, but the rotation wasn't there from T-Man, and the Shadow are able to start pushing forward. However, the demo plays from the Flames have been absolutely silencing that second man this entire time. Now though, with room to take it, Fruity will go for a flick. He will not find it, but Morg will be there for the follow-up.
What a play.
And it will find the back of the net. The Flames had no answer for Fruity's attempted flick that baited both of them out. And the Shadow will take game number 3 here in this 5-match set.
Great play by Mr. Fruity there as he just waited and waited and waited before he put that flick on net. He drew out 2 defenders, and then I left Morg with an open net. And with a player like Morg, we know he's going to finish those off. As for the Flames, this game could have been so much more, as they just didn't have the offense in previous games.
Yeah, it feels like the Shadow were just piling shot after shot onto them, and they just could not find any way to do it. We do have, I believe, a highlight coming up soon of this overtime goal from Morg, just putting it away after that great play from Fruity that baited out both defenders. That type of play, where you're able to get both defenders out of the goal to tee it up for your teammate. That's the type of play that is so crucial to improving your team's performance in a match. Being able to get that sort of a cohesion going where you're able to pull stuff like that out. But to think about both of the goals that the Shadows scored, they were built off of Morg doing the hard work. Fruity did the flick in that last goal, but Morg was one that had to put it away. And as we all know, open nets are the hardest to shoot on. But in the case of the first goal that they scored, the attempted double tap from a absolutely obscene angle, it has now left the Shadow 2 games to 1, and they are ready to take this series here in game number 4. We've had a car switch, I believe, to the battlefield for Fruity, and it's going to be interesting to see if this one pays off as we get game number 4 underway. What a series this has been so far.
And I'm just surprised on how just even this series has been. Both teams going back and forth. Morg can't tuck this one underneath the crossbar for now, as Fruity's just kind of playing with the ball, just trying to buy time for Morg to get there.
I love that. Morg attempting to fake out both defenders, but the fact that they were both there stopped them from doing so. Recently, the Batmobile did come back as a card that we can use here on stream and in gameplay because of a recent change to the rulebook, and honestly, it's great to see it back on stream. It's been a long time coming. Mr. Fruity now looking to try and make it work here on offense, and the Shadow once again seem to have a little bit more control, but there's the break from Flamethrower. The good be immediately putting the Flames on the offensive front, and T-Man again doing a backwards challenge, which shouldn't necessarily work all of the time.
I mean, that was his only option to do, as he was facing backwards. He got a hit on the ball, kept it away from his end for now. Teammate's got an open net, but he doesn't have any boost. Morg will just collect it, and dangerous position. as T-Man almost took the lead for the Flames right then and there.
Yeah, that would have been a kick in the teeth from the Shadow. They managed to recover so well off of one mistake, but they couldn't stop a second one from occurring. But they did recover from that as well, and Fruity gets his demo onto T-Man, but a great challenge there from Flamethrower leaves the Shadow backpedaling. Fruity gets his third save, and then a dunk from out of nowhere, and the Shadow will take the lead in game number 4.
Fruity's going to get back and just follow up on the touch, and this one's going to pitch all the way back. And for the and for the Flames, that's just one of those goals that you hate to give up, as there's nothing you can really do to stop it.
Yeah, and especially considering they've had that offensive pressure for that last couple of seconds. They were starting to get something going, but one bad 50 is all it takes to get yourself a goal behind. And now Mr. Fruity is looking to double his lead. He plays it in front of the net, but T-Man with a great touch will send it over to the far wall. Now out towards the midfield where Morg is waiting for him, and will send one sort of a tempter towards net. Not necessarily looking to score with that, but more so to get the defender and test his capabilities in a sense. A sort of just a light tester, but now Morg attempting to go in for a fake shot, and Fruity misses a chance there. He, I believe, had an open net to shoot on. T-Man was out of position, but T-Man now looking to come back with a going for a flick off that. Will not find it off the ceiling, and the Shadow will maintain this 1-goal lead for how long?
Oh no.
Not much longer. It's 2-goal lead, and a great bump from Fruity to set that one up.
And the Flames have just got to be kicking themselves, as they've put on so much offensive pressure. They've put in so much work to score a goal and get in this game. And for the Shadow, they've gotten a couple of easy ones. And the Shadow are looking to take this series here.
Yeah, and it would be in line with your prediction. If they were to take this, it would line up for a possible Game 5 win. As we saw in our first series of today, a Champion League matchup between the Outlaws and, forgive me, I forget the other team's name off the top of my head. The Rhinos. A great series there where the losing team, who had lost the series 3-1 by Game 5, ended up getting a game back. But as of right now, this lead and this series feels like it is firmly in the court of the Shadow.
Yep, the Shadow are saying we've had enough of the Flames. We're going to lock down this series. And so far, the Shadow have really done that in Game 3. Only out shooting the Flames 5-3. But again, the Shadow are the ones that have converted their shots into goals.
Yeah, Morg now looking for something fancy. He has the boost, but a great recovery from T-Man defensively will keep that one out. The ball is dangerously in front of the net, but Mr. Fruity will get there first. 4 goals now for the Shadow, and this one has been a runaway for them.
Another partially open net for Mr. Fruity. And like you said, those ones are the hardest ones to put in, but I think at this point, the Shadow are really just rolling, and the Flames can't put up with the punches.
Yeah, it feels like the Flames are just... They've been on the back foot ever since that pinch goal went in, and they've just not been able... My apologies, my non-caffeinated beverage decided to try and make a reappearance this evening. It just doesn't feel like they are necessarily able to keep up right now, especially with Morg, who is just having a moment right now, as I would say. He is on his A game right now, and maybe about to get a 5th goal for them, but he does not commit. He instead will now just wait out the clock. He knows he's got 25 seconds to go, and they already have this series under lock and key. And if you're the Flames now, you've got to be thinking, how do we keep ourselves in this series? Well, you can't really, you've already lost the series, but how do we get the Game 5 win after we've had such a strong performance immediately be shut down since game number 2?
And I'm just going to repeat what I said that I think the Rhinos should do is play free, have some fun, and maybe you can get a little momentum going your way and then just kind of start rolling with that. As for the Shadow, they're going to clinch the series, but we still have Game 5 to go.
We do have a highlight coming your way of this game, a great highlight. One of the key players in this game was the tide turner of this pinch from Mr. Fruity. He gets the clearance away from there and then pinches it off of T-Man's car. There is not much you can do to keep that out, especially when it goes in at 121 kilometers per hour. It's kind of difficult if you're a Flames player to get in the right mentality after that.
Yeah, it's just one of those goals that feels like it should be in Rumble, not standard. And for the Flames, I mean, you wish you could bring power-ups in, but you can't. So you got to pull something out of the bag of tricks to get a win against the Shadow here. Is losing a series 4-1 stings, but losing a series 2-3 just doesn't feel that bad and still can help you later on in the season, as in MLE, every single game matters.
Yeah, you never know what game win or game loss will either put you into playoff contention or take you out of playoff contention. But going back to the Rumble point you made, I wanted to pose a question for you out of the blue a little bit. What Rumble power-up do you think the Flames would be using most, if they could use one, to try and get themselves this Game 5 win?
Ooh.
Because my think is spikes.
For me, I would almost want to say the magnet, because I feel like then you can the magnet, or at least the plunger, because the Flames have had so many opportunities, and for one like that, you could just have a player drive straight into the net and activate the plunger, and then just pull the ball right into the net, as the Flames have just been plagued by poor goal conversion this series.
That's a very fair point, but also you can never count out a good big punch. And there's a boomer from Mr. Fruity, as though he hit it with a big punch. And that is a great opening goal for the Shadow as they look to continue where they left off here in game number 5.
And it's just a great 1-2 pass from Morgs to Fruity, and Fruity just beats out that last defender, and the Shadow again find themselves in familiar position and with a 1-goal lead.
Yeah, it feels like the Flames at this point, it's disheartening to see, but it feels like the energy that we saw in the first half of this series sort of just went with game number 4, and now a game comes to the Shadow. They try and get a counter-attacking play, but it feels like the Shadow have just controlled that midfield line for so long in this series that the Flames don't know what to do once they get into the Shadow's half.
And with plays like that from Morg, it makes the Flames question what they're doing in their own defensive half, as Morg is just one of those unpredictable players.
Oh, a great double save there from Flamethrower to keep that one out, but now Mr. Fruity has time and space on the ball. T-Man will go up to meet him, and Flamethrower will just take it away from both of them. A great little challenge from him, and now really trying to kickstart this momentum for the Flames, but he's just not got anything to do and to deal with Morg's offensive capabilities. T-Man, though, will read the mistake. Fruity, however, with a great touch off the ceiling, will send it again into the Flames half. A good flick there from Flamethrower will get the shot on target, but Morg will make the save, and it feels like it's just sort of going through the motions if you're a Shadow player right now. You're not doing anything exquisite, but you're just doing enough to get the job done.
Yep, and I think for the Shadow, that's really all they have to do, as even if they go through the motions, it's just like free play. And you know those opportunities will come. You just got to keep being persistent and forcing the Flames into awkward situations just like that.
Tried to get the pass off the Fruity there, but Morg did such a great job to get both of the Flames players out of the way. Couldn't keep Flamethrower out of it forever though, and he was able to return and get the touch away. And now the Flames find themselves needing 2 goals to take this game, and one of them might have to come in OT, and they might not even get the first one to take it to OT because they only have 2 minutes left, and they've shown no signs of any offensive pressure in game number 5.
For the Flames right now, they have 2 shots to their name, and they haven't been dangerous. That's about as close as dangerous as they've gotten. As right now, T-Man's currently has 74 points and has really just thrown up a donut factory. This game of Flamethrower just could not put that one inside the post.
And you have to think, if he puts that one in, it is a complete tonal shift here in game number 5. Now T-Man looking to have a little bit of fun with the ball, but it's not led anywhere for the Flames. The Shadow will hold strong defensively for the moment. T-Man sending it along the left-hand side wall, but Fruity is there to make a challenge. Baits out a rushed attempt at a demo from T-Man, but Shadow's Morg now takes it in front of the net. A dangerous prospect. You never drive it in front of your own net unless you have a death wish, but in this case he knew what he was doing, and I thought T-Man redirected that into the back of his own net, but he didn't. Instead he has an open net to shoot on, but Morg with a great recovery on defense. 55 seconds remaining, and the score remains 1-0 for the Shadow.
The Shadow are just wasting as much time as they can, and T-Man just trying to pull out anything to get something going for him and his team. But for the Shadow, their positioning has been spot on every single game this series, and it's continuing to show as the Flames cannot put a solid shot on net.
You say that as Flamethrower is going to get a goal here to take this one to a tied game at this moment. A miss there, an uncharacteristic miss from Morg as he throws up the whoops in chat. A very unlike him type of play to do, and normally you expect him to be hitting that, controlling that, and making a play of it. But Flamethrower, predicting that he wouldn't be able to get up in time, allows himself the chance to get the Flames back into this game, and Morg will immediately tear their heart out and stamp on it with a second goal to his name, I believe, this game. Or say a first goal this game. A brilliant shot, and another boomer from the Shadow.
And for the Flames, just as you stitch up your heart, Morg comes back to break it once again, and looks like that could be this series, and it's looking at it will be. The Shadow are going to come away with a 4-1 series victory, and for the Flames, they were just continually plagued by just being oh so close to putting the ball into the back of the net.
Yeah, it felt like this series was a series that could have easily gone the other way had the Flames found their rhythm and found their sort of flow in the back half of this series, but they just couldn't put the shots to bed. And the Shadow, they were so clinical on offense and in the midfield so far this game that really it's been very interesting to see. I feel the Shadow have been doing a great job all season long already to silence opponents, and Morg getting his second 4-1 result this season. He has really been the flag bearer for them.
You mentioned earlier on in the broadcast that I think Morg was one of the top 8 in MVPR in Masters League, and he really just kind of proved that today, as he just did a little bit of everything to give the Shadow the weekly W. And
do remember, we do have a thing called Play of the Week, and we have brought this up to you before, but we are going to be reviewing Play of the Weeks from, I believe, week 1, and the double header that took place. We're going to be showing them up to you during the intermission, or either right now. I'm not really sure exactly when they're coming up, but they'll be coming up soon, so you do not want to miss it. We will be back for game number 3 here on the B stream, and a very interesting game at that. A game which I'm personally looking forward to watching. It's the Lightning versus the Eclipse in the Premier League. What a series that's going to be, and I can't wait to see how it goes. But that will be all from me tonight, and that'll be all from Mr. Tony Early tonight. So we want to thank you for tuning in to us. We'll be handing you over to 2 other commentators after this one. But stick around, you do not want to miss a second of MLE 2.